Hey all, and welcome back to the HSC playthrough of Sonic Riders. Even without wings, he can still... actually, we're a bit ahead of schedule on that one. I'll come back to it later. So, halfway through the hero story, pretty much. Yes, it will be concluding in this part. So, you've basically seen everything Riders has to offer in terms of like mechanics and whatnot for the time being. So, let's discuss some of the stuff that happened recently at the Sonic Central livestream. Very heavy SA2 Sonic vs. Shadow vibes here.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, we had Colors Ultimate. We had the announcement of a Sonic Symphony happening on Sonic's birthday, which is very exciting. We had Sonic Origins, which is a collection featuring 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles. Very excited for a widescreen version of 3 and Knuckles, and also Sonic CD. Now, Flame, which of these would you like to comment on first?
Well, the big one that everyone was expecting and getting excited for was Colors, so we should probably start with that.
I never imagined anyone would enter the race with such a piece of
I'm glad that we're getting 60 FPS Colors. That's the main thing that I was excited for, and, you know, I'm happy with that. I do have a few reservations about the just general presentation of the remaster. I've noticed from the trailer and the screenshots, the lighting... I don't like it. I know that it's one of those, it's different more so than objectively bad, but I feel like it loses a lot of the soul from everything being much darker than it originally was. I know, Tom, you've had a few thoughts jumping back and forth on that.
Yeah. It's odd because some places look objectively better, some look objectively worse, and some are just kind of the same. And these are the same people who worked on the Mass Effect Legendary Collection, I believe, and there were similarly mixed opinions on the handling of that. Obviously, you know, Sega weren't to know at the time they hired them. Obviously, you know, these things kind of, you know, they work on their own. But I'm hoping they tweak some stuff before the game comes out in September, and before you even conjure up the thought in your mind, rest assured there will be a playthrough of Colors Ultimate this year on HFC. It's not going to be right away, or who knows, maybe it will be, because we have our next game already in mind, and that is not Colors Ultimate, so who knows, maybe we'll switch them around, do that sort of thing, cash in on the hype, because you all know that HFC is nothing but, you know, Kingdom Hearts and Sonic and whatnot, so...
Well, of course.
Indeed. What about you, Richie? How do you feel about Colors Ultimate?
I mean, yeah, great. I think if any game had received a remaster or was going to, I think I would have much preferred to have seen Unleashed. Because I think that's probably the one that would have seen the biggest benefits from a remaster. Just because obviously you would have had the things like global illumination, the lighting would have been much more effective in that. Whereas I think half the reason that Colours ends up being a slightly odd match in the visual sense is because obviously the original was on the Wii and it had to have a very specific colour set, very specific lighting, because it was purely down to the limitations of what the system could do. When you start putting in some of the more impressive tech into that sort of thing, like global illumination and more realistic lighting, you lose some of the fantasticalness that you had in the original colours, because everything popped and just everything was very neon, and you lose some of that by going for a more realistic lighting setup. So that's why you end up in that whole situation of some bits look better, some bits look worse, some bits it's just like, well, it's about the same. I would have questioned their decision making there. I think that they could have gone a slightly better route, but it's still cool that, you know, they are giving us 60 frames per second Sonic Colors. It's finally going to hopefully have slightly improved controls. I mean, it played well anyway, but obviously the idea is that hopefully it should be even smoother because you don't have to worry about the Wiimote. And they're putting some quality of life features in there, although some of them doesn't feel like it necessarily needed them. But that's just the way these things go sometimes.
Yeah, wasn't the thing with Tails, didn't that end up being like some support mode or something? I can't remember the specifics of that.
Yes.
Yeah, Sonic Colors doesn't need that. Like, I'm just being upfront there. Like, if it were, say, an Unleashed remaster and they decided to help you out with some of the later Hedgehog stages and that, I get it. That's probably a lot more of a filter for less experienced players. But Sonic Colors, you can accidentally beat, you know.
I think some of the sections in Asteroid Coaster might give Babbies a bit of pause, but otherwise, yeah, this is basically the conclusion of the hero story, guys. It's you can beat it in an afternoon. Well, actually, you could beat it in maybe a quarter of an afternoon, as you can clearly see here.
You say that, but this is one of those games where the game time comes from you failing a lot.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, I've trimmed out the failed races here. This game is incredibly difficult, and I don't mind that. I know a lot of people do complain about that, and it absolutely is a filter. Don't get me wrong, it is the sort of thing that a lot of people will play it, find it difficult, and it will put them off. And I do understand that, because this game is a very difficult sell. You know, like, a lot of people are going to go into this, like, no matter how you market it and that, people are going to see cartoon furry animals racing, and they're gonna think Mario Kart. And that's what they're going to go into this expecting. And I genuinely like the difficulty that comes from this and the way the mechanics work. But I know that putting that in a game with this kind of presentation, it's gonna alienate people.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of a difficult situation here where, as much as I would like to see more of this, I do understand why the series kind of died. Although, let's be real here, the series died because of Free Riders being as shit as it is.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one thing that we can't not talk about, really. The second game, Zero Gravity, kind of same sort of mixed reception. Some people like it, some people don't. Free Riders, the Kinect game.
Yeah.
The way that game controls, and I'm gonna go into this here because no, I am not recording fucking Free Riders, fuck off. The way it works is that it uses the Xbox 360's Kinect, it's camera-based controls, and you control it using your body. Which means that not only do you need to have an open space to use it, like with all the other Kinect and iToy and all games of that sort of ilk, but also they are infamously unresponsive. To the point where I've seen people playing the game and it's taken them a long time just to navigate the fucking menus because it uses the, like, spatial recognition. And that's before you even get into the game where all you, like, lean to the side, picking up rings, doing your jumps and all that. That's all controlled with jumping around all over your living room. That is the biggest example, I would say, and bearing in mind how the Sonic series is, this is a big statement. I would say this is probably the biggest example of just what the fuck were they thinking.
Oh, yeah, there's a...
Yeah.
Usually you have to make a lot of qualifiers with a statement like that, but he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. From what I played of Zero Gravity, I enjoyed, and plot-wise it goes in a direction that I'm not really sure why they did that, but suffice it to say, if this is fantasy, the next one is very much sci-fi. I'll leave it at that. And just to make sure we have stuff to talk about in the following parts, we'll come back to Sonic Central and whatnot in the following part. But before we come off it, Sonic Origins. Richie, how do you feel about the collection having this amount of games and the games that it has in particular? Because I know you're not a 2D guy. Will this be your chance to get on to that side of the franchise at last?
I mean, very likely, yes, which is nice. But in terms of, yeah, the number of games on there, probably a bit disappointing, considering... Jesus Christ, that shadow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they're riding cuboids!
But yeah, so it probably will be, but it is a slightly disappointing number considering previous Sonic collections have had far more in them and generally, you know, have been better collections. But hey, it is what it is. We'll see whether more happen to turn up in there or not, because they've said that that's what it is so far. They've not kind of clarified any further, so there's no saying there's not going to be any other games in there, but it's not going to be likely.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything extra. They might throw in They might throw in like Flicky or something just for tradition's sake, but it ain't gonna be oh shit, there's hidden games and whatnot here. I'll be surprised if there's even like a museum to check stuff out. Anyway, they have the Tesseract here, so I guess that's gonna interact with the Chaos Emeralds and do some fucking shit.
Also, can I just point out that I love how you had to come first in that mission, but you automatically don't win the race because they cheat. So that's like a bit of a stab in the gut of you got to win this and then you're not going to win it. Thanks, game.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a prelude to 06, which was basically a Final Fantasy game in which you beat the boss, but then you lose in a cutscene.
Distracted by the shiny, I got nothing.
Oh, Jesus. Millions are dead. Millions. Oh, finally. Night Palace returns. I knew in my heart of hearts that it would never make it into Generations, but to this day, I still have a longing in my heart to see a HD version of that level, with boost gameplay and whatnot.
That, to me, was one of the biggest missed opportunities with Generations, because they took levels from the main series games, but I feel like a lot of the spin-offs, including the storybook games, and even this game, have got some really cool locales that would be fun to boost the fuck through, I feel like if there was ever something in the vein of Generations again, I would like them to dig deeper, although with the way the Sonic brand is managed these days, I wouldn't be too optimistic.
Yeah.
Because that is something that I've been noticing creeping into Sonic a lot lately, in that it seems to be getting this more Mario-esque approach to the brand, where it's very clean and it's very on model, and like they don't like to dig into the more obscure parts of the franchise anymore.
Jesus Christ.
But like, if you look at stuff like Team Sonic Racing and that, where that could have been an opportunity to have all kinds of little nods to more obscure parts of the franchise, but in reality, we've got Sandopoulos and that's about it,
Yeah, I suppose so. Anywho, I guess this is basically the grand finale to Hero's story. Amy went and got herself kidnapped, didn't solve any problems, and now Sonic has to beat Jet to the door, essentially. Jesus Christ.
I love this emulation so much.
You can't catch up with him. Get out of my way.
Oh God. Jason Griffith, I love you, but no.
In fairness though, you take one look at Jet the Hulk, and what voice do you expect to come from him?
Aha! Aha!
Exactly.
Defeat Jet once and for all. Sonic's like, I'm sorry. It has to end. Yes, the Babylon Garden.
All right, bring it on.
Let's go!
This level was a choke point for me when I originally played this game back in the day. In this run, somehow, and I have no idea how, I got this down on my first take, and I'm kind of proud of myself for that.
Wow. I guess while we're basking in your upcoming glory, tell us a little bit how both the ranks and the rings work, mate.
Okay, so the rings help build up your levels. Every time you get to the next threshold, like you can see in the corner there, 30 rings, you go up a level. And what the levels do is they enhance your air meter so you can get more air, and they also improve your boost. So you notice that with Sonic, when he reaches a higher level, instead of just boosting on the board, he gets off and spin dashes, which, let's be frank, he should probably be doing anyway.
Yeah, Jesus.
But the other characters get their own little changes and that. It's a good idea to try and collect as many rings as you can, but there have been times where I've got away with not leveling up, because some of the courses are more generous with rings than others. Some of them, they just have rings all over the place. Other ones, there's usually shortcuts that don't have as many rings,
right,
but they help you skip an area, and in those cases it usually worked out for me better to just take the shortcut. Like that section there, you saw there were a load of rings on the ground, but there was also a grind rail, and the grind rail is much, much quicker than trying to steer around.
Well, there you go.
And I should clarify with the grind rail, because this is one of the more complex mechanics here, that if you're used to grinding how it works in the platformers, it will throw you off here, because what you need to do is you need to be above the rail and then press A to connect to the rail.
Oh.
Which is a little bit strange and is something that took me a while to get used to, and it's especially complicated given some of the grind rolls in the game, particularly on the Babylon story, have splits. So you have to jump from one rail to the next.
Very Ratchet-like.
If you get into the habit that I did, where I would instinctively hold down A once I was on the rail, that fucks you over, so don't do that. As soon as you land on the rail and you've connected, let go of it, because you may need to do a jump mid-rail.
So how about them ranks?
The ranks themselves, I'll admit, I haven't really paid much attention to, because when I'm playing Sonic Riders, you know, I'm playing to come first. I'm not playing to try and get the coolest flips and scores and that, but ultimately they come down to when you're in the air and you've done a trick, you can try and do as many different flips and whatnot as you can mid-air before you land, and I think the rank comes down to a combination of how many different things you did in the air and whether you landed safely. Because you can screw over what would be a cool rank by just going headfirst into the floor, which makes sense, but you know, it's always a little bit disappointing when you hear that little clank.
Yeah. Anyone who's played Pokemon can attest to that. And especially anyone who's recorded a Pokemon game for a playthrough.
Even without wings, I can still fly. Right?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, these shadows. Maybe once we get inside this place, we can wish for better shadows, and just shadow just appears. What the hell am I doing in this game?
Where are you, Eggman?
I'm over here by the door, Sonic. This story is fucking clown shoes.
It really is, yeah, and like, we're getting a different ending here to what we'll get in the Babylon story as well, so it is kind of a... Just decide for yourself which one you want to be canon, I guess.
Blue Hedgehog or Green Parrot? The sky's the limit. What the fuck? He's using Sonic Tornado.
Basically, this is Heroes then.
Yeah, and again, like Flame discussed with the levels and whatnot, it's fucking Heroes 2.0. The sequel I wanted was here all along. Jesus. Oh no, enemy's dead. Oh well, you win some, you lose some.
We got the jewel, it's fine.
What? I lost. So don't play games with me.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
Want your pity, nor do I need it.
I love the dynamic between the Babylon Rogues here of, well, Jet's trying to be up and prideful, and the others are like, nah, fuck it, just take it, mate.
Yeah, a win's a win. Like, for all we know, we may be the last of our race, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
I think it's time to leave now.
Yeah, this is going to get awkward, Tails. We should let them fight amongst themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Jesus. Secret credits race. Escape from Amy.
I mean, unironically, I would love that.
It would be pretty great. Although, interactive credits, they are banned under the Geneva Convention of No Fun, 1996.
I got some bad news about colours.
Oh lord. Fucking Benelux. Still don't believe that's a real place. Anywho, we're done with the hero's story in Sonic Riders, but there's still another side of the narrative to see, so come back next time when we check out the Babylon Rogues side of things. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you then. Bye-bye.